The Father Michel Scandal. The internet celebrity prophet, Father Michel Rodrigue, who was once a mainstay of Catholic internet media, has been cast aside. Both his supporters and the Catholic media personalities who networked with him have moved on to more popular prophetic celebrities. Catholic YouTubers, bloggers, and media personalities alike seek to distance themselves from the fallen soothsayer. Many who were once fawning influencers are finally jumping off the bandwagon. Since so many red flags were ignored, scandal has been the result. Those familiar with religious scandals can see a pattern of perpetrators distancing themselves from each other, trying to salvage their ministry careers and attempting to maintain their power base. Sadly, it's no surprise that Father Michel lost his popularity and disgraced himself. Well before Pope Benedict's death, Father Michel struggled with the truth, abandoned his priestly responsibilities, and established himself as a celebrity prophet by spreading one doomsday prophecy after another. But how did this happen? How did an unstable priest with a history of fantastic storytelling become the darling of Catholic internet media? Why were the warning signs ignored? Why were church authorities rejected and bloggers and internet influencers trusted by so many hungry truth seekers? It is hard to understate how troubled Father Michel Rodrigue's journey has been. As a young man, Father Michel burned down his family home, claiming that he was freeing himself and his family from evil spirits. As a priest, Father Michel fabricated the bishop's approval of his many prophecies. This led to Bishop Lemay of Amos, Quebec, to publicly rebuke Father Michel. Bishop Lemay did not mince words, saying, "I am extremely shocked, and I feel betrayed by these remarks since I never approved of them." Father Michel was later caught lying about being an exorcist. He was disavowed by the Bishop Robert Bergen, who both dismissed Father Michel's prophecies and his claim to be an official exorcist of the church. Moreover, Father Michel was caught lying about Russian agents infecting him with a bioweapon, and then was exposed for telling stories about himself raising someone from the dead. Father Michel abandoned his pastoral responsibilities, walked out on parish work, and left his flock behind him. He sought out followers, encouraged them to break from their families, friends, and loved ones, just to live in dilapidated cabins in the woods. He claimed that physical refuges would protect them from God's imminent wrath. According to a caretaker of the cabin grounds, his followers were continually throwing away rotting food due to the inconsistent doomsday predictions. The caretaker said Father Michel just had a habit of simply pushing the dates down further every time. Father Michel scrapped the past prophecies as though he'd never made them, and so he was never questioned. He gets new people attracted into the movement, gets them excited, and keeps the pipeline coming. This leads us to Father Michel's most salacious prophecy. It's the one that garnered the most attention. Father Michel claimed that Pope Francis would be assassinated, and the retired Pope Benedict would convene a new council. Father Michel said, Pope Francis will be martyred, and Pope Benedict XVI Emeritus, who still wears the papal ring, will subsequently convene a new council. As many of you are no doubt aware, Pope Benedict died in 2022. And even if Pope Francis predeceased him, retired popes are not authorized to convene a council. Accomplished scholars within the mystical theology space have issued warnings that were ignored. Mystical theologian Dr. Mark Miravalle warned against these fraudulent prophecies, saying, quote, "The alleged messages of Father Rodrigue contain significant and repeated examples of theological and factor error, coupled with legitimate concerns regarding his emotional and psychological stability." In addition, internationally renowned theologian Father Dr. Joseph Iannuzzi was equally clear in his warnings to the faithful. He said, "The Church has witnessed many who have claimed to receive messages on physical refuges, but in the end were declared false. In the Church's approved prophetic literature over the span of 2,000 years, God has never directed a prophet to inform families to flee to a constructed physical refuge after they've abandoned their jobs and properties and cars. One must be mindful not to fall prey to deception, which happens more often than not when following unapproved seers." Catholic media and Catholic influencers chose to ignore both these church authorities. Red flags, bishops, and theologians ignored. Why? Why? Well, we all know that we are broken men and women in need of God. But we also know that there was a lot of money to be made, a lot of books to sell, and a lot of social capital to be obtained. We know that Catholic media more often than not ignores ecclesial and academic authority when it contradicts a juicy sales pitch. Influencers praise a theologian one day only to bash the same theologian another day, whatever suits their agenda. A disturbed priest calling himself a prophet of the end times is marketable for Catholic media. Father Michel was himself exploited and sold to vulnerable people hungry for meaning. Those who hold religious beliefs associated with contemporary prophets are often from low-income communities and are likely to struggle with mental health issues. We know that this fraud was perpetrated on God's most vulnerable people, and those familiar can attest to the evil underbelly of the ministry that lusts for influence. In the aftermath of this scandal, Catholic media will likely follow the lead of seedy televangelists who conjure up excuses, even take the Bible out of context to maintain control over their followers. Religious scandals are full of weak arguments defending fraud. Unfortunately, weak arguments are enough to manipulate the vulnerable. The question is, will you trust fake Catholic media when they sell you their next celebrity prophet? Or will you be guided by the church